What should you wear to greet the holidays with your billionaire boyfriend's family? And how should you look elegant, expensive and feminine for the office and other holiday parties? And how can we learn from the Chanel Métier d'Art show on what to wear to look fabulous, bougie and amazing this holiday and Christmas season? Ramasani, how do you do? I'll also tell you what not to do. Continued. So the first thing, don't wear a miniskirt in the winter.
So, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. When we finally kiss goodnight, how I'll hate going out in the storm. But if you...
Especially without leggings or with a flimsy sort. Gentlemen call this look frozen eggs. Those ladies think that they are so sexy, showing off their legs and cleavage, where gentlemen are so happy that they are warm and all their body parts are warm under the pants and coat, and they're afraid of their body parts freezing to death. In the egg freezer, you're not appealing, you are frightening. Ladies, it's not sexy or attractive, and they're wondering if you're freezing off your ovaries. It's just not an effective look. So, what I recommend, ladies, is wear one of, if you need to go clubbing in the winter, well, wear one, and you need to wear a mini skirt and show everything off. It's not something I recommend, but if you're into hookup culture, good for you. So what you do is wear those fleece-lined leggings that look like, skimpy tights, right? Or pantyhose, whatever you call it. Then you have your mini dress and a warm coat and warm boots. And don't try to be sexy on the street. The fur coat is the only thing that is remotely sexy. And even then, on the street, gentlemen are not looking for their future wife or partner, right? It's freezing, that's all they care about. So when you're finally indoors, you can take off your warm coat and change your boots into lovely shoes and be sexy if that's what you want to do. You know, if people are worried about your health, you're not sexy and it looks cheap and low self-esteem. As a result, you'll be preyed on. Don't do that. Then there are two other mistakes. One, sorry Anna Bey, is Zara. Gentlemen, thank you. $45, $75 Zara outfit was bought in Shein. I've said it repeatedly and I have receipts. You might as well buy it from Shein. And if you spend at the higher range of Shein, let's say $100, you can actually get something that looks expensive for the holidays. And I'll show you, yes, you can actually buy things in Shein that gentlemen will find expensive. But it's because of how much your dollars go. So in Zara, if you spend money in Zara, the problem is you're spending for the overhead, for the staff, for the store, for the prime real estate, right? So something that's $15 at Shein is $75 at Zara. Just think of the difference. Now, if you spend $75 at Zara and you don't have to pay for overhead, imagine the quality. So this is what I learned in the Couture Academy. When you look at something, right, the markup is minimum times 4, right? So if it costs something to make a dress, multiply by 4 plus 20% tip, right? And 20% tip is, you know, tax, shipping, etc., etc. So don't wear anything that resembles lingerie. It's not elegant, it's not sexy, there is nowhere outside of the bedroom you should be wearing that. I know they want to bring the 90s back, but even when I wore it in the 90s, I got cream. What do you think of this?
Why do they have underwear out in public like that?
To celebrate Christmas.
That's some really naughty Christmas celebration there from
Criticism towards fashion. My family, friends were against this trend when it came out, and of course I wanted to be like the fashionistas, like those supermodels wearing this in the 90s, or, you know, and in actual silk. But my family said, because it does look rather tacky. Fashion, at the end of the day, is a language, and it's about impression management. Finally, we cleared what not to wear. So now, what do we wear for the holiday season? I was inspired by the Chanel Métier d'Art fashion show. However, the original Chanel clients did not like the show because they were expecting something feminine from Chanel. Come on. I understand from Karl Lagerfeld, he made clothes hyper-feminine, but Gabrielle Chanel herself brought masculinity into feminine fashion in this whole French chic. So if you were buying Chanel and looking for femininity, you were looking the wrong way. But, you know, they might find some other client. At the same time, I want to translate the looks from the runway into something that works for you, which is what a stylist typically does. I'm a certified image consultant and a color season consultant and etiquette expert, as well as a happily married Miss Universe finalist. So let's get into it, shall we? My focus is not one of the many reviews of the Chanel Métier d'Art collection, but my focus is how can we take something from a posh runway, use the inspiration to make our own dressing more luxurious. So the first thing you'll notice is the use of multiple posh textures together. I love to do this in either monochrome or two colors that match, right? For example, green and blue can work together. For the holidays, red and green can work together. Or you can go monochrome, right? If you are not experienced, right, and if you have not come to a color consultant like myself to show you how to do your colors, then I recommend being conservative, going monochrome or an accented neutral. So for example, the trend that I saw that was so lovely was ostrich, and it's beautiful to see ostrich with velvet, right? Or ostrich with silk, or ostrich with sequin. I saw multimillionaire's wife in Palm Beach, so chic. She had this red silk long gown and an ostrich jacket for the holidays. So chic, so lovely. And it was all red and it highly suited her. So with ostrich, there are two types of looks, right? there is the marabou, and men do find that much more attractive and it's cuter. Then you have the full ostrich, which is more expensive, and it does look expensive, and you can find both on Etsy. An ostrich coat or bolero looks so posh during the holidays with your cocktail or evening dress. So here we have a masculine outfit of ostrich in monochrome, but you can imagine if it were a dress how lovely it would be. And next we have fur. I prefer the real one because I don't fall for the Peter scam. I can talk to you more about it if you're interested in the comments. So I don't fall for the scam. It's a corporate scam, so that, you know, the corporations, they don't make profit on fur because you buy that coat and you pass it down for generations, but they make a lot of profit on the landfill dumpster clothing, right? That's plastic. And, you know, after every 5 years, it has built-in obsolescence, you need to buy a new one. That's where they make their profit. I didn't fall into this. I believe in pursuing one's self-interest. However, during the holidays, there are so many synthetic fur that is so well done. So if you have a fur shawl, fur bolero, fur jacket that is the same color as what you're wearing, it's perfect. Or, you know, if it's white with red, that's a classic combination. So you have to know what goes with what. White will go with jewel tones. Black and navy is also a classic color combination. If you have long blonde hair, a black fur coat can be rather striking. The next thing that we learn is beading is posh, and you can see this with the Métier d'Art collection. And I have several Shein beaded dresses for you that do look expensive, but you will be paying $150 for those, right? And that's where finally gentlemen will think it looks expensive, because if you break down $150, right, and you divide it by 4 and 20% tax, right, it still amounts to something made. And that we are talking about retail like Zara. So if it's Shein, it's actually divided by half because they don't have to worry about the retail. So if you divide it by half, right, and it's be 75, right? If you divide it purely by half, so if you buy something that's $150 on Shein, that means that item could have been $75 to produce and $75 profit. So you're getting an excellent product. What looks expensive is the craftsmanship. Next, we have a favorite technique of mine, and that is mixing velvet with satin or another fabric. And even though, alright, the runway look is avant-garde and you might not associate with it, but if you have something velvet and you have a satin ribbon or silk satin charmeuse ribbon with it, it can look so posh. And for jewelry, I do recommend Swarovski, because again, it's about craftsmanship. What looks expensive isn't, you know, a Louis Vuitton logo. A Louis Vuitton logo on some plastic or t-shirt will look cheap. However, for elite, it's all about the love of craftsmanship when you have the money to buy anything and everything and it just becomes zeros in your bank account. Then you look for what is more well-made and delightful, right? So, of course, if you can afford Harry Winston, why not? But unless you are under 30, then of course you should wear that. But if you're under 30, Swarovski is an excellent place for young ladies to go for something well-made, but, you know, it's crystal, it's not, you know, where on earth did you get that, you know? Are you a lady of the night? Can you wear lace for the holidays? Yes, as you're seeing, I'm wearing Lyon lace, so just be careful not to wear Chantilly lace that looks like underwear. Don't wear that, and wear something more formal, right? And at most, if it's Chantilly lace, it should have beading, it should have something to distinguish it from the bedroom. Alright, some of you would say, well, my holiday party is not formal, or seeing my billionaire boyfriend's parents, I know that his sister opened up Christmas presents in jeans, so what do I wear to something less formal? And I recommend the Manhattan Plaza uniform. I thought it was so unique when I was there, but we all had the same thing. However, you will get so many compliments. So what is your best color? What do you get the most compliments on? And it should be a color. So wear a monochrome outfit with a silk skirt and cashmere top in your best color, which I call jackpot color. So mine is in rusty red. I have a rusty red skirt from Banana Republic, and they are the best for sales for silk. If you know other places where you can get excellent silk other than Lily Pilly silk, please write below. You know, if anything, maybe Lily Pilly. If it's the only thing you can get, do it. But the skirt and the cashmere jumper should match. A cashmere jumper and a silk skirt in the same bright color was almost a uniform among the Manhattan elite having afternoon tea at the Plaza Hotel. So that is what I would wear on a more informal occasion to impress your billionaire boyfriend's family when you see them for the holidays. Another posh combination is having a cashmere or Murano wool jumper together with a leather skirt like Meghan Markle, and especially in monochrome in the color that suits you the most. Make sure that it's not low cut, and the same thing with casual office parties. It should not be low cut, it should not be too short, even though that might be for your age, because you are there to be taken seriously. Whether it's for the holidays, opening Christmas presents, or holiday dinner, networking event, or your holiday office party. This is not the same as going on a date to the opera. Therefore, anything sexy will look cheap and inappropriate. Even though, if you're in your 20s, that's what everyone your age wears, is this tiny micro mini skirt. That's black with a black turtleneck at holiday parties. Believe me, looks cheap. Gentlemen don't know the latest fashion, but they know texture. So I do recommend a merino wool or a cashmere jumper and a skirt that's matching in silk. Next look is that it can be a sequin skirt. Now, when it comes to sequins, sorry Anna Bey, they can look posh for the holiday. However, it's the darker sequin colors, including a darker gold, that look the most posh at night. So if you have cranberry or burgundy cashmere jumper and sequin matching skirt, it will turn out fabulously. One Italian lady went with a silver skirt and a grey cashmere jumper that suited each other. And she had a Gucci bag, and together it all looked posh, but it also was not too much. So if you're going dressy casual, like slightly less informal than the silk skirt, then you can have the sparkle skirt. So next step up would be what Usha Vance wore. It would be a silk blouse with a skirt. So she wore navy with gold, though if I were her, then I'd have gold earrings to bring it up, because it's disjointed if it's cut. So if your skirt and shirt don't match, make sure the jewelry you wear does. So you can absolutely wear a velvet that's not even silk, a regular velvet dress, and get away with it for the holidays. And you can wear sequins and it can still look posh, depending on the cut and styling. Because the construction of this garment that is priced at $5,000 or is priced at $75 is often the same. So, since for evening wear, some of the materials like velvet or sequins that you will see in a $5,000 and $75,000 garment are fundamentally the same and similar construction, the main difference is taste. And Bourdieu said increasingly it's taste that creates the differentiation between the classes. So it's knowing what to pick and what not to pick according to your go. So now at more upscale events, the default is a little black or navy dress. And it would be modest, it would not show cleavage, because you want to be taken seriously as a professional, or it's a family event and you don't want your uncle to look at you the way your date does, or your father's business associate and so, right? So in those things we dress more conservatively than if we were to go to the ballet with our date. Now, depending on what your profession and what your go is, your go might be to blend in or to stand out. So for example, when my mother was at receptions with the Prime Minister as his interpreter and translator, she would wear navy dresses to the knee, hiding her cleavage, but she would make sure nothing was full length, because that would be too sexy, that would stand out too much, right? Whereas when I worked for the Parliament, I would wear a modest full-length gown, but in navy, right? So I would do a variation on the theme, because I could stand out. Don't stand out like a circus clown as in neon sequin poofy ball gown for your office cocktail party. If you want to break the rules, or if you're going to be different from the other ladies, don't be different in 5 different ways. Be different in one way, maybe color, maybe length, etc. But, you know, don't go all over the place. You have to think, what's your strategy if you want to stand out? And one of the best ways of standing out is actually wearing more. For example, Melania had a beautiful sequin gown for the Halloween Gatsby party that completely covered her, but was all sequin. So she was completely modest, and yet it was sexy because it was tailored and floor length. Princess Catherine has many of those dresses. Needle and Thread is her favorite, one of her favorite brands for this. And it's perfect, right? And the more interesting detail or anything like this in sequin dress, the more expensive it looks. When you have monochrome in a rich, darker color that suits you, it could be navy, it could be emerald, it could be burgundy, and you mix various posh fabrics like Queen Rania with red velvet dress and taffeta that's so posh and so elegant. Now maybe your holiday party is much more informal than Queen Rania's. Hence, I would recommend knee-length dresses. Don't wear anything mini, but it should be touching the knee. And then, what's beautiful if you have a Audrey Hepburn type Sabrina color, and then you have in a velvet or in a silk and a taffeta shawl, you know, an ostrich bolero, right? And anything like this, it can look so elegant. I don't recommend wearing cardigans to office parties, even though we might have seen it in Chanel. Sorry. A cardigan in the evening, it can look cheap for something a bit more formal. When you could wear a shawl, you could wear bolero, you could wear things that are suited. You could wear a full jumper, like there is no need for this cardigan. In the summer, yes, they can suit your summer dresses and you can wear it in the evening and it can be elegant, but in the winter, it's rather daytime. I wouldn't wear it in the evening. So it's the neckline that makes you look elegant or posh in an office party or any other holiday party, right? No cleavage. But you can have a boat neck, still not Sabrina neck. See, a boat neck is more what Meghan Markle wears and often has sleeves, right? You can wear that, you can wear something asymmetric, you can wear something that's off one shoulder. Cape dresses like Meghan Markle are so elegant, and Ralph Lauren usually has quite the selection of knee-length cape dresses that are excellent for office evening cocktail parties. So should you wear a cocktail dress for a holiday cocktail party? Not necessarily. Often, something floor length yet modest hair can be so exciting. But don't go and wear bright gold. Make sure that the color it's in is conservative and dark, right? So that it's the length that shines, because again, we don't want to be a clown having too many different things that we stick out like a sore thumb. Leave the light pink sequin dresses at home, alright? Now, if it is your basic, classic sheath, pink sheath dress to the knee, alright, you can wear that, and especially if the sleeves are covered, you know, alright, you can wear the Barbie color. Though in the office, you'll be taken less seriously, but you can wear it to a friend's cocktail party. Comment below what topics you want to hear about next. Please like or absolutely hate, share, subscribe, and comment below. Ciao!